This is part 3 of receipts allocation to invoices. Now, part 3 only explains how to do auto allocation for receipts and invoice that belongs to specific customer, and the process is easy. It's still the same process under cash book. I go to customer receipt, I go to process cash receipts, and then I get this page that shows me the list of customers that have unallocated receipts and invoices. Now I can easily just pick one of the customer here and say, okay, I want to allocate for this first customer. I click this box and then I click allocate selected on the top right corner of the screen here. What the system does is the system would automatically match the receipts against the invoice using a first come, first serve approach. What that means is the earliest receipts will be allocated to the earliest invoices first, and in that order. Once the receipts are fully allocated, then stops, and then you can allocate for the next customer, the next customer, the next customer. However, this process might not be ideal as it relates to proper aging. The reason being that the system would only make use of the earliest receipt against the earliest invoice, which in the real sense might not happen that way. You might have an invoice that came in today for a particular customer, and that same customer has an invoice for yesterday. But then the customer makes a payment for the invoice that he got today and decides to still pay for the one for yesterday maybe later in the week. What that means is the invoice for today needs to be allocated with the receipt for today. But if we are going with the auto allocation process, the system would allocate the receipt for today against the invoice for yesterday. Like I said, it might not follow the true picture of what aging is, and that's the reason why this might not be popular to use this process. However, it still does the job accordingly. It allocates the earliest receipt invoice. So that brings us to this end of the allocation process.